think they can hear us. Me, at least. Hello, welcome to Theater Games on Pop Culture Co-op. My name is Maddie McCloskey and I am your host. If you're new to Pop Culture Co-op is a collective of women and non-binary folks who are recentering the conversations on pop culture. If you're here, I hope it's because you like theater, because we're going to be playing some theater games. Today's guest is one of my friends and someone I've been very lucky to share a stage with. Jessica Henderson is a comedian, writer, and actor whose work you've seen in Vulture, in their web series Growing Down, which just had its series finale. And you can also view their stand-up set from HBO's Human by Orientation comedy special. And they had a one-person show called 40 Acres and a Strap, My Life After Slavery and Journey Towards Queerness. You know what? Let's just bring Jess on.
Whoa.
You're here. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing, Jess?
I'm doing well, all things considered. All things considered. Also just hearing that list of things of my life is like, what a progression.
What a progression. I remember meeting you. It was maybe the beginning of October, somewhere thereabouts in 2016
Yes.
at the Upright Citizens Brigade of New York. Rest
The
in
Upright Citizens.
rest in pieces, UCB. And I remember you walking in as a just whirling dervish working on your web series Growing Down. And I remember thinking, that is a mess who's going to become a star.
Oh, that's so sweet. You have to put yourself out there. The only way is through. And the through of it all becomes more and more of a risk. And I'm trying to figure out how to look on my past and look at my past projects and not see everything I did wrong, but see like those little touches of magic and grow from them.
There's so much magic. Yeah. And it's built into the projects that you're continuing on. I remember the beginning also in that time of your plant journey. And now you are making plant content regularly and kind of creating this space online. Can you tell the viewers at home a little more about that work that you were?
Yeah. It occurred to me that I would say in 2016. Sorry. Hold for sound.
Yeah, the meter is absolutely picking up.
Hold for sound. Okay. So I had a internal switch where I realized I couldn't be defined by the industry, like the job that I wanted. I needed to be happy with myself. And I needed to be focused on my quality of life. And that led me back to how much I loved plants and what a big influence they had on me when I was a kid in Florida.
Where in Florida are you from?
Panama City.
All right.
Panama City and Panhandle. It's not really considered Florida. It really should be like just Alabama.
Like Floribama.
Yeah, I should say I'm from Alabama or I'm from Georgia because that's what it is. It's a place. It's a place. The other day I met someone that was wearing a University of Florida uh shirt, and I was like, "Oh, I'm from Florida too." And they asked where, and I was like, "Panama City," and we both were like, "It's not really the same thing, but yeah, I see you."
I used to date a woman who was from Pensacola, and
Yeah.
so we would venture. I believe I have gambled in Alabama, regardless of how much I can actually remember of that event. I have gambled in
Yeah, probably in
Alabama.
Birmingham. Um,
Probably.
so I found my way back to plants, and then I started creating content for plants because it just felt like nice to do and soothing to do. And honestly, I needed a space on social media that did not exist full of people's pictures and then their show dates beside them.
I'm guilty of that.
But I'm guilty of it too. I couldn't do it anymore. And I'm jealous. And so much of my life was like, okay, I'm gonna like wake up, I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna get a journal. And the journal's gonna like make the jealous bitch like dissipate because like that's the right thing to do. And now I'm in a stage of my life where I'm like, no, I'm jealous and that's okay. And I'm going to treat my jealousy like my drunk best friend. Like, you're a stupid bitch and I love you, but no, you can't drive. You can't drive because I love you and I don't want to die. You know what I mean? Like they're a
Absolutely.
drunk friend trying to drive a car is how I treat my jealousy. So
I
I
love
needed to
that.
create, yeah, like, hey, I hear you and I love you, but you're not gonna like destroy my whole life. It's how I feel about it
And
now.
honestly,
Versus like, oh, you don't exist. You don't exist because I'm a good person. And it's
and
like,
that
no,
only makes the drunk best friend worse if you treat
yes,
them
it
like
gives
they
her
don't exist.
superpowers. It gives her
Yeah.
superpowers, and then she becomes that thing that's like haunting you that you see in the backseat of your car that's like like in the horror movie. So now I'm like, no, I put her in the car seat. She's like this big. I strap her up, give her a bottle, and that like
Yeah.
giving her a bottle is like plants and um nurturing myself with plants. I try not to it I hesitate saying I create content because I'm trying not to like label productivity around something that I do to love, but I have created a space on Instagram, Sphagnum Swamp, that's just, me doing different shit with plants.
And
And
I'm going to go ahead and assume that my audience went to theater school, much like myself. And so not all of us are the best phonetic spellers. So sphagnum is spelled
yes,
Spagnum.
yes,
Swamp, I think they've got covered, but that's how
yes,
you spell sphagnum. That is a
yes.
type of fern, correct?
It's a type of moss.
Moss, okay.
It's a type of moss.
Aren't they? Isn't that also found in Florida specifically?
Um, I actually don't know that. I don't know.
I think I want to get you on the co-op to do a plant show.
Yeah. Yes, I would love to do that.
I oh cool. I'm glad everybody is witnessing us having this
Yeah,
discovery.
I'd love to do that. I'm not sure. I know that Spanish moss, which is something that I have started to string throughout my apartment,
Mhm.
that occurs in Florida.
Sure. So I know that a lot of people talk to plants, and I know that you are a stand-up comedian. Uh, have you ever rehearsed your set for your plants?
I have never purposely turned to my plant and given it a performance, but I do very much exist in a call and response type space with my apartment. So they've definitely witnessed. Like I have played I play my stand up back a lot, and sometimes I'll stand and like mouth and rework jokes,
Sure.
and they have definitely been a part of that.
Do you find that the state of your plants correlates with the state of whatever you're working on? Like, do you find that ebb and flow and call and response in
Yeah,
how
I
they are
I
prospering?
I wouldn't say that it directly relates to like, oh, I'm working on this project. Sometimes it's not that linear, right? But I will say my state of mind is reflected in the way my plants look, for sure.
Absolutely. I I need everyone on this feed to know something that I already know about you. And that
Okay.
is uh, Jessica Henderson is one of the few people who has gone to a performing arts high school and gotten a BFA and come out of it grounded.
I wait, so yeah. I don't know. I don't know if first of all, thank you so much. You gifted me with a lot. Um, you gifted me with a lot. I will say that I have always felt a voice inside of me. And I know that that was like ancestors looking out for me, that always, there was always a part of me that was like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. And like taking what I can and sort of interpreting it for my own. I will say that performing arts college did knock some of those protections that I had down, because sometimes it was uh sometimes there were things that I wasn't even self-conscious about, that then I went to school and people were already apologizing to me for like being an other,
Yep.
that I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I should feel like a little insecure because I'm fat and I have a pretty face. Like, but I still kind of held on to a little something, which made me not I was not a favorite student.
I just don't understand a teacher who could have you in their classroom in the performing arts and not be excited by possibility. But I also have gone to theater conservatory programs and theater college, so I do understand that it's overrun with like abusive white men.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but like they rely on the fact that we love the arts so much that we will overlook a lot of mistreatment either to us or to others in front of us, and we
I
stay.
would say that I was too I would definitely say that people recognized my talent. I
Good.
never felt unrecognized, but I think that people were always scared of me and knew that it was like unreignable. And that's what made me kind of undesirable, is that, and to be fair, I'm older, I'm wiser. I see the ways in which I worked against my own interests, but I also see the ways in which the system completely failed me. Um, yeah. And I'll say
Absolutely.
that.
I mean, I just feel very lucky that you came out of that not saying fuck this, I'll be a realtor. Um, we're all very
No,
lucky
no,
for
no, no.
it.
Oh, that's
How
so
I do have a few questions I ask all of my guests. One of
okay.
them is, how did theater first come into your life?
Okay. Um, sorry, I'm gonna say this very convoluted answer.
Okay, great.
Everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, she's one of those. They're one of those. It wasn't necessarily theater, but like magic of of like fantasy, if that makes sense, of
Yeah.
like otherly, was I'm a military brat, and we were in Germany for a little bit. And I remember seeing my brother's classroom, and they had like a reading corner that was a tree. And I remember being like, oh.
You could
And I
take
don't know how
3
else
in
to
a
explain it.
classroom.
Yeah, but like I don't know how else to explain it, but I remember being like, okay. Yeah. So like another world exists. You tell stories, right? Like it's a vibe. Of course, my
Right.
Aquarian baby, I'm like, it's a vibe at like 5 years old.
Yeah, Aquarians are always setting vibes.
Right. And uh then it was storytelling really. Like I would listen to old like Turner Classic Radio stories with my dad on road trips, and we would listen to audiobooks. Um and then my first, and here's where I'm going to actually answer your question. I believe my first play experience was what was the first play I ever saw? I think I saw like on PBS some sort of opera or like ballet.
Ooh, we love a great performance.
Yeah, and I would just watch PBS all of the time.
It's so vital. I love that.
And then I started doing Shakespeare at uh, my Episcopalian private school in Panama City, Florida.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
I have so many questions. I want to continue the ones I always ask because I do want to know these answers.
Okay. Okay.
How has your love of theater impacted your life today? I include this question just because I am trying expressly not to center musical theater actors on this show. Since you are
Oh,
not a musical theater actor, how did that past love of theater translate into your life today?
my love of theater translates into my life as understanding trips and journeys, uh, not only in a play, but in my life, and also in experiences in my apartment, like the way I decorate, the way I light my house, the way I dress, like for a mood.
I love that. You're curating experience. Because what
Yeah.
is theater but curating experience to go on a journey or take
Yeah.
someone
Theater
on
to
a
me is
journey?
a curated experience and understanding how to pull a different moods for what to nurture yourself is like that's theater, right? It's nurturement of a vibe like fed directly to an audience, right? Like
Yeah.
feel this with me, experience this with me, watch me discover and heal. And
Yeah.
that has like a healing effect when done right and well and
Yes.
genuinely and
Mhm.
genuine for those MTs out there.
Oh, I
And
mean, we got him. We got
and
him. I mean, anybody who likes me and is watching this is maybe less of the cookie cutter wrap dress ilk, less of the tan character shoe vibe.
know what I said, and I'm ready to try and be canceled for this.
Yes,
But I
please
said
go.
the other day to a good friend of mine, I said musical theater people are the Republicans of
The arts.
the arts.
I am willing to stand with you on that because
Are we about to hold for sound?
you know what?
Okay. Okay.
Neoliberalism and how much people are willing to bend on their morals at the behest of like innumerable amounts of wealth is how musical
Right.
theater happens. Like the richest rich people that produce like Broadway, like
Well, it's because there's no diversity in positions of power, right? And
exactly.
so musical theater is in the highest position of power because they make the most amount of money. So money go hand in hand with white supremacy.
Yep.
And people who are part of musical theater that don't understand that are the Republicans of the arts. The
Absolutely.
people that want to say like, well, it's just the like question of policy. Like, I'm gonna get on the ship. I gotta do the cruise line contract. It's like, no, you actually don't. You actually
Yeah.
have to drop your integrity for gigs.
Or
You
it's
actually
yeah.
can't hold producers accountable.
And there are I mean, I'm sure you've seen there are equity houses who have kind of shown their asses in the pandemic and put on productions when it was illegal, you know, some face shield horrors, and equity has to put on the face of like, you can't be in the union anymore, but also they were hitting up everyone in the union saying pay your dues when no one had work. So it's like, hmm.
Well, SAG did that little trip with the who they'll cover
Yep.
for insurance. And who does that benefit?
Yeah, exactly. Look up. Always look up. Uh, so I think this is a great discussion that leads into what is the most useful thing you have learned from watching and creating theater?
This is going to be so fucked up.
I can't wait.
Like that it's not true. And like we need to remember that. It's all a play. So don't let people tell you they don't have money. They can't give you what you need. Or also that you need what they have to give. That's the biggest thing that I've learned. And also, and in conjunction with that, having a fuck budget, because there's always going to be a job that's like kind of worth it to eat shit for. There's always going to be a job that's like kind of like really good exposure. There's always going to be a job that we think we need. And again, going back, quality of life. Like I need to be with my plants. My house is clean. I'm getting my bills paid. Like, let me lean on this because I have a fuck budget.
Yep.
Because the truth is nobody holds the line. Nobody holds the line. Your manager doesn't hold your line. The agent doesn't hold the line. You fucking hold the line.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important for people in BFA programs or people who are just coming out of them to realize that the idea that you have been conditioned to love working for free is a tool of capitalism. It's not art. And you are just being put into the system. Art is still part of the system. It is a commodity. And we've been conditioned. My last guest, Sam Wilson, and I were talking about how she's a writer, and we've done so much writing work for free, and it takes your energy, it takes your thought, and we were taught we're artists, we're starving artists.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. But that's why it's important to have a budget, because there are, of course, things don't. And here's another way that they fucked us, making us think that things exist linearly. They don't. Mm-hmm. That's why you have to create it. Like, I know when it's worth it for me to do something for free, because I have to find it clearly. And when I start to feel exhausted, one of the first things I know, it's like, okay, well, we got to readjust the fuck budget this much because I overdrafted.
Yep. And those fees, they come in, they get you.
Yeah. Those all of a sudden you got $5, but now you owe $35.35 on top of the $5.
Oh, you used to be a Bank of America person, didn't you?
Yeah.
That was the overdraft fee.
Yeah. Oh. Like, it's real. It's real. And at the end of the day, when bills are due, when I'm overdone, like, people are, I'm not like, the bank's not calling it, and I'm not like, oh my God, I didn't pay the bill because, like, actually, my manager wanted me to do, like, so if you could just call her. It's not how life works.
No, absolutely. What a great thing to learn. What is the most useless thing you still remember from having done theater?
Honestly, I would say having to learn the canon.
Yeah.
And the importance on Shakespeare.
This is the
And
second
American
pop culture
Playwright.
co-op show where this has been discussed, or maybe it was a discussion within the co-op. Uh, I would love for you to extrapolate upon specifically.
And if I went even deeper, I would be like, oh, thinking that Chekhov was really, really, really important. Thinking that the only way to voice in speech is like Antoe Linkletter, like Linklater. Sorry, ooh, that's disrespectful because she passed away
I
too.
know.
Um,
I prefer Linklater to IPA personally.
I
Like if I had
well,
to
let me take
choose a
that back
poison
because
in BFA.
there is like use the sound. Here's what I'm gonna say. What she's doing. Ooh, I'm about to get in so much trouble. I need more acknowledgement on liberal, new age, hippie, white professors co-opting POC practice and colonizing it into very, very elite theater programs.
And profiting from it.
Thank you so much. So that's what I'm going to say.
I love it. This is a great answer. I am already sad that we have a time limit on the show because I feel like you're already invited back for another episode.
Of course, anytime.
All right, another question I had, since I know that you went to a performing arts high school, this could also apply to your BFA. Do you have a role that was one of your one that got away? Do you have a role that you almost got or that you didn't get that you really, really wanted that you still are like, oh, late at night it comes to you?
Yeah, I did not get the mom in Bat Boy because I was Black, and I should have been the fucking mom in Bat Boy.
It's illegal to be racist in casting rock musicals. It should be illegal because we would not have rock musicals without Black people, because we would not have rock music without Black people.
Yeah.
If you would like to give me the names of any
It was our
professors who
ITS.
did you wrong.
Yeah, it was our ITS One Act that I picked and pushed because I was ITS president.
Of course you are.
And I butted heads a lot with my professor because I had a lot of audacity, and the audacity made me ignorant. But also, how dare I have audacity and be like a fat Black woman? So there was all of that between my professor and I. And I also wasn't afraid to call him out on his inconsistencies.
That'll send those
Real talk.
narcissistic. Oh no,
Real talk.
I had a professor in college who taught Meisner, and he okay, this is going to identify him. He is the last person to train under Sanford Meisner as a teacher while he was still alive. The man's name is Jim Jarrett. But I remember every time I went in his class, I would get panic attacks. I would physically, viscerally feel like there was like dark energy in that room. And I would call out that like it was not an environment where people felt safe to ask questions. And that man did not like me.
Yeah, they never do.
They never do. They never do. I got an A out of spite because I'm a Sagittarius. And
that's why I like you. I'm Aquarius. Sagittarius and Aquarius, we get along.
I'm an Aquarius rising.
Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of, I'm so glad we've had this conversation up to this point because I did prepare a question. For those of you watching who may not know, if you have read the recaps of the show Baited, the Instagram live show Baited, Jess wrote those recaps. And if you haven't seen Baited, you need to. I think it's under her account, so it's right at
it's under Z-Way.
Yeah, at ZIWE. Again, we know theater majors may not be the best spellers. Might be challenged with a name if you have a certain shade of light tan character shoe.
So if you got your Capizios and 2012,
if your tights are closer to white than brown and they match your skin, it's okay. Her name is spelled ZIWE. It is phonetic. So you don't have to name names. But if you were to elect someone from your theater journey, or a fictional theatrical character, or a real life theater professional to be on Baited? Does anyone come to mind?
Oh, I would ask like all the faculty that I've ever had.
You'd have them go on Baited?
I well from I could name two professors from NYCDA, the conservatory I went here in New York, and from University of Northern Colorado, that I would be like, I choose you, Pikachu, and you got to go back and teach.
How
And
do
one
you
of
think
them,
they
I
would handle the baited line of questioning?
I think that one of them, well, they represent the like two harmful identities of white people, and the one that is so afraid of doing wrong that they actually continue to do wrong because they're not listening, and then the one that is so afraid of what they've done wrong that they can't imagine having being accountable for it, so they can't even go there.
Mm-hmm.
And how dare
Mm-hmm.
you?
Did you, I forget now, were you on that large mass email list at the Upright Citizens Brigade? Do you know what I'm talking about? With
Oh,
Okay, there was a professor at UCB who lost his job because he said the N word in class. He was a white man,
oh my god.
uh, and he said the N word, I think, as an example of like what not to say in a scene. But he still like fully said the word, and someone reported it back, and he lost his job. So, what does this man do? Email every past student he has ever had and ask them to write to the powers that be at UCB to say that he's not racist and he's a good guy. And of course, he said all these things in this email to beg for his job back. I don't think anyone did.
Well, from having been in other toxic pyramid scheme type environments and being growing up most of my life in predominantly white spaces, I caught warning signs quickly at UCB. So I never was caught up in any of the madness because I was like,
Yeah, I got out after my 201. I was like, oh, I can do improv and do coachings with and pay people I like
mm-hmm,
and
yeah.
play with people I like, and I don't have to do the white boy
I also had a
routine.
and you were there. I had a very catty, very messy, sloppy beginning to UCB
Yes,
that made me see too, like, oh, everybody's a fucking mess.
absolutely. And I think you hit on something really important that multi-level marketing and cults um, are often groups that get actors pulled in, and UCB is not dissimilar to multi-level marketing in that you go through levels and you give more and more of your time and your money, and you are looking for approval upward, you know.
Yeah. I would say that it goes back to diversity. And it's sometimes it's just that simple. Like, look at who's making all of the choices. Look at everyone that's in a position of power. Is
Yep.
it diverse? No. You're it's not about whether or not you are gonna make mistakes, especially as white people. Like,
Yeah.
you are violent.
It's inevitable. White people
Yeah,
will make
it's
mistakes.
what you do when you hear the mistake.
Yep.
And I can't really speak on I cannot speak on a UCB experience
Yeah.
because I did not give myself and my creativity in ways that many of my close friends did. But
Yep.
I will say that people who were in positions of power at UCB, I have come in direct contact that have done very terrible, toxic things to me that I had to address within like the first 2 weeks of being a
Yeah.
student there, based on a relationship that didn't even exist
Oh, I
inside
remember.
school.
Oh, I
So,
remember. Yeah. And what a terrible first impression.
and that's a person that's in a position of power. So,
Yep.
like, to me, it's,
Yeah. And there's, I mean, like, I'm so glad I met you. And
uh,
there are people who are still in my life from that time. And like, I can take the good from it, but I am so glad you're on the show. I want to pivot to some games. So our first game is Would You Rather?
okay.
Would you rather watch a production of Fun Home with all cishet straight people in the entire company, including the musicians and the director, or would you rather watch a production of Into the Woods with all white cishet men in all of the roles?
I would rather see Into the Woods. I don't want to ever hear a straight cis white man's take on a Fun Home.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't want to see it. And in Into the Woods, like, sure, fair game.
I think you could explore masculinity. You could explore masculinity with Into the Woods at least.
Yeah.
Um,
And I also quite enjoy people who are aware of, like, cis straight white men that are aware that that's who they are and fully own it and will explore the nuances of that. Like, I feel like a self-aware prince, like two self-aware princes, would probably
yeah,
be some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. And I
yeah.
also love when they are exploring gender as well in a um like in a way with integrity.
Yeah, I'd
I
love to see a
straight
man
men.
in a gentle way play the baker's wife and really
Yes,
genuinely want to have a
I would love,
child.
yeah, I would love to see like Bob the lumberjack or whatever. Like, if we were really going to just lean into stereotypes, I'd
Yeah,
love to see Bob the lumberjack play Rapunzel and like genuinely be
and
upset.
feel trapped and
Yes,
explore what that
and then
is.
watch two self-aware princes like agony, like
Oh,
literally. Are you kidding me?
oh
I'm
no! Are
directing
we
it.
direct?
I'm
Yeah, please
directing it.
direct it. I'll dramaturg. Let's do
Yes,
it. It's on.
I would love nothing more than to see like stereotypes and understanding of stereotypes singing agony and just the mockery of like what is self-inflicted, privileged oppression.
And also, there's the idea of children will listen. Thinking about what we tell little boys.
Also, don't at me. I will play the witch before I'm dead.
Oh, you will. Oh, that's why I put Into the Woods into this question.
Yeah,
You know that's why.
yeah, I was like, oh, like I played, that was another role that I didn't get that I should have gotten, but I'm not gonna, I also didn't have the courage.
You weren't ready, but now
So
you
I went for one of the stepsisters.
Oh, I bet you were great.
Oh yeah, I was
I bet you're
amazing. hilarious. I had the best like glasses when they're blind. The like,
oh, amazing.
the glasses looked amazing. Ooh,
All
well,
right.
you know what? People will educate me if that was very ableist and not
That,
okay.
oh yeah. I mean, Stephen Sondheim, among the things in the shows, yeah, that's true. And we had to watch it happen to him. Would you rather date a butch lesbian who is an inadequate stage manager, or date a lipstick lesbian musical theater actress who is a subpar singer?
Inadequate stage manager.
Why?
Because a subpar singer, I mean, but let's just be real, both lack an awareness that's very scary to me. But with a stage manager, there are less people I feel that I have to also watch you disappoint.
That is an interesting answer. I put that in because I thought it was a trick question, because I've never met a butch lesbian who was an inadequate stage manager.
Very true. And that's another thing. You know what I low-key thought, but I was like, don't get too weird. I was like, the butch lesbian that's an inadequate stage manager just needs a good friend because something's happening, because they're not letting them true self shine. Like, yeah, that's literally my thought.
I'm there with you. I'm absolutely there with you.
So that's like somebody that might need like a bit of a journey.
But they're going to get there.
Musical theater, I don't know.
Well, especially because if you've already made it your career and you're a grown adult and you've never had anyone tell you, like, you're not a singer first, you may not even be a singer second.
I don't know. That sounds
Who
like
do they have around them? And
that sounds
like,
like a burned one from the Winx Witch Academy, that Netflix
ooh.
show. That sounds like a burned one.
Oh, okay. Would you rather watch a musical theater Broadway actor who has never done comedy before do a stand up set for the first time? Or would you rather watch a stand up comedian who has never done musical theater before perform in a musical for the first time?
A stand-up comedian performing the musical for the first time, 1000%, because I will not be held hostage. And that's all I have to say.
That's all
I
that
have
needs
to
to be
say. I
said.
will not be held hostage. And that's how
Absolutely.
I think how hostile and how like the situation will be.
Hey guys, my name is Anne Marie Perkins, and this is my first time doing musical theater. And actor life in New York City can be just so hard. Just kidding, I can't do it. I'm not going to. I wouldn't
I
do
feel
that to
like
you.
I feel like the jokes would be like, call my mom, she fucking hates me. Oh, so you guys are
Oh my god.
that one? It would be a lot of jokes about like the way you're responding to them.
Or just
With
like, yeah, I cried into my smoothie bowl. Oh my gosh, is that a Sade shirt?
it is.
Okay, is it vintage?
It's Etsy.
Oh, we love. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, I'm going to be focused. I am not just on the phone with you, even though we are due. Um,
Yeah, we are.
would you rather relive your worst UCB audition or relive your worst teenage audition?
Okay, this is gonna sound really conceited, but I've never had a bad UCB audition.
That's fair.
Um, because I didn't audition for the teams, and then when I auditioned for Academy, I had a very healthy level of fuck you.
Great.
So it was a really good audition. I had a good time.
Oh, awesome.
I would love to relive my high school ones because there was an awareness that I did not have that I would it would be interesting to see the subtle ways in which I like discounted myself when I was younger.
Absolutely. And I think, if anything, what I learned a lot from you because I met you in a time when I was really a huge mess, and you
Aw.
immediately swooped in and were a rock for me when I needed one. And I think I can confidently say that you and I both have grown into adults that would be such good friends to our younger selves who needed it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm very much in pursuit of little Jess and less like embarrassment about what I did and more of like understanding and holding hand, like, come on.
Yeah, we'll get through
Yeah,
it.
that sucks. And it's okay. Yeah.
I have one last would you rather, and this is would you rather be moderately successful as a creative, but everyone back home mistakenly thinks you are hugely famous? And maybe they want things from you, maybe they want your attention.
Mhm.
Or would you rather be a legitimate big deal in your industry and in your realm, but nobody back home knows about it at all?
I would rather have no one back home know about it.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's a healthy.
Yeah. I don't want yeah, that's something that I've been grappling with recently, especially with like my first TV appearance coming out. Uh I'm not famous by any means, but with every one of those transactions, you do lose anonymity.
Yeah,
And again, back to my reality and sticking to my world because that is another reality that is
yeah.
a
It's
different
not.
dimension.
Yeah, I love that. And on the subject of reality, let's make up some play titles that don't exist, and make
Okay.
up the the elevator pitch for them. So I
Okay.
had people on social media and people in the co-op and also my girlfriend give me some adjectives, some nouns, some times, and some locations. Uh, so I'm gonna go first to make things easier for you.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna pick two things. Do you want me to pick an adjective and a noun,
Whatever,
or
whatever
okay?
you want.
I'm gonna pick two things. I have seen these, but it's gonna be a random. I'm gonna do a noun and a time.
Oh my God. Lily's watching.
Okay.
I'm
So
sorry, I just
I
got
don't
it.
know that you'll be able to see this very well, but it's doll
Oh,
and dusk.
oh, doll.
So doll at dusk.
Doll
Uh,
it.
doll at dusk. And I have a coin. Do we want heads for comedy, tails for tragedy?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we've got tails. So it is a tragedy. Doll at dusk.
Okay. Doll at Dusk is a story of a woman named Dolly who used to be like upstate New England royalty and made one bad mistake and got shunned from her family. So now she's living in the deep south and finally has her life back on track and has met the love of her life, but he dies.
Oh my goodness. So does his death her catalyst to return back to New England and face the people?
100%.
Oh, is this a kitchen
Only
table
to find
drama?
out that her parents are on their deathbeds.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
everything comes to a head. It's
Mm-hmm.
a story of love, loss, and identity.
100%.
Oh my goodness. The woman who plays that role gets nominated for a Tony at the very least.
A Tony.
Obie, even.
Yes. A
Absolutely.
Grammy. An
Okay.
Oscar.
Do you want me to come up with a play and pitch one to you?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So do you want me to grab an adjective, a noun, a time, or a place? Or
Let's do a noun and a time.
a noun and a time. Okay. Okay. So I have my noun and my time. I'm going to flip to see if we're doing a comedy or a tragedy.
Okay.
Ah! I almost dropped my coin. Okay, so it is a tragedy again, or tragedy or
Whoa.
drama. My
Okay.
my words are 4 p.m. onion rings. So 4
Oh,
p.m. onion rings is a suburban small cast play that can be done immersively at colleges. You can put it on in a dorm space, and it's actually encouraged because what it is about is sexual assault on college campuses. And it follows the story of a young woman allegedly living her dream, and you think that everything is going to be a comedy. It's kind of like a dramedy. Like clearly the playwright watched a lot of Judd Apatow, but then learned about feminism. And
okay. Wow. I know that.
yeah, and you watch this woman being groomed by a professor in her freshman year of college. And then in the second act, it's a time jump to her working in academia, but older, and watching it happen and trying to stop it. That's 4 p.m. onion rings.
Whoa. That's thick.
Okay, I want to hear one more play from you before we have to kind of do an outro. I'm going to do an adjective and a location. And I'm going to flip for comedy or drama. It's a drama again, and your title is Lovely Milan.
Lovely what?
Milan.
Lovely Milan, and it's a drama.
It's a drama.
Lovely Milan is a drama about a fancy retail store. Plot twist, bitch. Fancy retail store where a murder's taken place. I'm not a playwright.
I mean, me neither, but I've
That's
been
pretty
intrigued.
loose. That's my
I
half
like the
idea.
idea of that. It's juxtaposing wealth and exterior with the reality of death.
Right.
I'm in.
And no one can leave the department store to the murder is solved.
Well, I like the idea of taking a style that we know to be comedic. You know, we think of a murder mystery as hijinks and loopy music, but actually feeling the tension of the passage of time and being grounded in the space. I'm in. Lovely Milan is definitely something that like will get done immersively by an experimental theater in the village.
Yeah, 100%.
1,000%. I am so happy you were on Theater Games, Jess. Is there anything you would like to plug?
You know, check out Growing Down. It's pretty cool.
It's on YouTube, yes?
Oh, I will be in this final season of Shrill as well, so you can see that.
That's very exciting.
Yeah,
And that's on Hulu, yes?
Yes, it's on Hulu, and I believe I'll be towards. Well, actually, you can just binge the whole season, and
Yeah.
just see me. You'll see me. It'll be fast. It'll be like, "Was that?" And then I'll be like, "Yeah, it was me."
I love it. And where can we support your plant efforts?
You can support my plant efforts on my Instagram. I have a GoFundMe. That's great. I have a GoFundMe. That's great.
I have your Embrace Mess handle underneath you on the screen right now, but
great.
Sphagnum Swamp is also another place where you can be found, right?
Right. And it's tagged. I think it's Sphagnum Swamp is tagged in my description on my
Fabulous.
Instagram. And then in the description of the plant Instagram, the GoFundMe link is there.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jess.
Of course, anytime.
All right.
Bye.
Stick around. We're going to have an episode of Trollopsism, I believe, coming up next. If you like talking and thinking about sex work representation in culture, stick around. It's a great show, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.